Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to the Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey for today's Big North American Division showdown between the visiting Dumont Huskies, 6-9 on the season, 2-2 in league play, taking on the first place Fort Lee Bridgman, 10-3 on the season, and a perfect 4-0 in the Big North American. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Long. So glad that you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel for this showdown in league play on a beautiful afternoon for baseball here in Bergen County. 75 degrees, sunny, and not a care in the world. As Fort Lee trying to continue their momentum of this red-hot season, the Bridgemen looking for win number 11 on the year. And they're going to be taking on Dumont here today, and then in the next couple of days as well, the turnaround game on the road in Dumont on April 30th. So Fort Lee trying to get to work here at home as they're coming off back-to-back wins at home against Riverdale and Fairlawn. They took down the Cutters in their last game over the weekend on Saturday by an 11-1 margin. They'll send number 13 Gabe Garcia to the mound here today. Garcia, the senior, pitching to a 3.36 ERA, 24 strikeouts, and 16 2/3 innings of work. Fort Lee on your screen in their home white with the black numerals outlined in orange. And Dumont on the roadside will be in their orange tops with the white pants. Lineup here for Dumont today. James Sotero will lead things off, followed by Ryan McKenna. Jared Caramusa will hit third. Alexander Martin will hit fourth. Luke Sobek will hit fifth. Dylan Mendez will hit sixth and do the DH work. Aiden Ramos will hit seventh. Tyler Quinn, the pitcher, will hit eighth. And Matthew Mertz will hit ninth. So James Sotero will lead things off for the Huskies. Sotero is a sophomore hitting .267 on the season. And the first pitch is bunted down to the third base line, and that will roll just foul. That kept on caroming, and if it had a little more of an angle, it possibly could have gone over the third base bag, which would have led to trouble for Fort Lee. So an 0-1 count to start off this game against Sotero. Defense for Fort Lee in the outfield, C.J. Senator in left, Lee in center, and Greenberg in right. Herrero down at third, Chris Kim at short, Stephen Kim at second, Sango at first, and Luke Senator doing the catching. The 0-1 missing low for a ball. It's 1-1. Sotero went 0 for 3 for Dumont in their loss on Saturday against Ramsey. Swings and misses through that one. It's a 1-2 count. Dumont trying to snap a 3-game losing streak on the season. They lost to Ramsey 15-1 on Saturday. Previous games they had lost to Woodridge and Paramus Catholic. Pitch taken a little too high. That'll even the count at 2-2. Fort Lee sitting atop the league standings, 4-0 record. Cliffside Park behind them at 3-1. There's a swing and a miss, and James Sotero is retired for the first strikeout of the day for Gabe Garcia. There's one away with no one on here at the top of the first. Ridgefield Park is in third place in the division, 3-3. Dumont behind them, 2-2 in divisional play, and Dwight Morrow is winless at 0-6. One away for the catcher, Ryan McKenna, hitting from the right side. That pitch taken high to the outside, 1-0. McKenna is a junior, hitting .327 on the season as that curveball falls in for a strike to even the count at 1-1. McKenna has driven in 5 runs on the season, collected 11 runs on the year, and 16 hits. As he fouls that into the backstop, 1-2 the count in favor of Garcia. McKenna was 0 for 1 against Ramsey on Saturday. And while he doesn't produce a lot of RBIs, he has scored 11 runs. Garcia's pitch missing to the outside, 2-2. The 2-2 pitch. Missed high, and now the count is run full at 3-2. Gun again, 1 out and nobody on base here in the top of the first inning. The 3-2. That one is lined to center field, and trying to make a play on it was Lee. Could not get to it. That's going to fall for extra bases. And with a one-out double, it's Ryan McKenna. McKenna just got it over the glove of Lee, who was trying to make the charging play at center field. So Dumont with a runner in scoring position, now with one out here in the top of the first inning. McKenna got a good piece of that 3-2 offering from Garcia, went straight up the middle. That brings up the third place hitter, Jarrett Caramusa, number 7, the starting shortstop. 349 batting average on the season for Caramusa, who's driven in 8 runs. Curveball breaks a little too high, 1-0 against Caramusa, who was 1 for 2 with a double against Ramsey over the weekend. Caramusa has produced 15 hits on the season, including 6 of extra base variety. That time, the breaking pitch falls in for a strike to even the at-bat at 1-1. Worley trying to keep the runner close down at second. Pitch breaks a little too high. They throw behind the runner at second, but not in time as they get back in safely. Two and one count against Caramusa. Pitch is taken low to the outside, and now the count in favor of the hitter at 3-1. Garcia's pitch. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch there that broke low and outside the strike zone after Caramusa was being aggressive ahead of the count 3-1. For the second consecutive hitter, the count is run full at 3-2. That one is driven to shallow center field, and again, misplaying that time, it's Lee. Went through his glove and allows the runner to advance down to third, and then right behind him is Caramusa. That is the second time that Lee has looked to the heavens, upset with himself after what should have been, that time, a routine pop-up. Lee was kind of trying to get a bounce into it to jump and snag that one, but it went off of his glove. So now, with that throw that allowed the lead runner to advance down to third, Caramusa right down at second. 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out here and a scoreless top of the first. That's taken in for a strike against Alexander Martin. Missing outside, it's now 1-1. Martin is a senior, 366 batting average on the season, has driven in 10 runs on the year. Hot shot right back to the pitcher, freezes the runner at third, and that will be the second out of the inning for Garcia. Great job there of making sure that on that contact play, the runner from third was not going to be trying to trudge home for that one. 1-3 put out, and now there's 2 away with 2 on. Brings up the right fielder, Luke Sobek. Sobek takes on the outside for a ball, 1-0. Sobek slugging at a .353 batting average on the season. 5 RBIs on 6 hits this year. Sobek will ground it down to short. Handled there by Chris Kim, who gets it over in time to retire the side and strand 2 runners on base for Dumont. So the Huskies threaten with a couple of hits, but they're left on base. It's scoreless as we head to the bottom of the first inning, and we thank all of our proud sponsors of Fort Lee Bridgman Athletics as seen on your screen. As we head now to the bottom of the first inning, let's meet the starting lineup here today in batting order for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. Leading off and playing in second base is Stephen Kim. Hitting second and doing the catching is Luke Senator. Hitting third and playing at short is Chris Kim. Hitting fourth and playing in right field is Jacob Greenberg. Hitting fifth, the designated hitter, Jack Dorcom. Hitting sixth and playing in left field is CJ Senator. Hitting seventh and playing in first base is Nico Sango. Hitting eighth and playing at third base is Jeremiah Marrero. And hitting ninth and playing in center field is Marcus Lee. As the Bridgemen will be contending with the starting pitcher here today for Coach Joe Algieri's Dumont Huskies in Tyler Quinn, number 1. Quinn is a senior, pitching to a 5.25 ERA. He has recorded 7 strikeouts in 12 innings of work this season. So the right-hander getting ready. Fort Lee being led by their head coach, Pete Kraljic, to a 10-3 mark this season, trying to preserve a perfect record in league play. Stephen Kim, the sophomore, will step in from the right side and take that first offering. A little in tight for a ball, 1-0. Kim is hitting .429 on the season, an outstanding campaign for the sophomore. Ricochets that one off the top of the fencing, and that's going to be a foul ball, 1-1. Kim has recorded 11 RBIs on the season, scored 20 runs, produced 18 hits as well. That one is bounced in the dirt wide of home plate. 2-1 in the favor of Stephen Kim. Went 2 for 4 with an RBI versus Fairlawn on Saturday here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Quinn behind in the count, 2-1. Swing on a miss there, that time by Stephen Kim. Out in front of that one, and that evens the count at 2-2. Two breaking ball, just missed a little too high, and it's now run full at 3-2. Kim will take low for ball 4, and he's drawn a leadoff walk. So the leadoff runner is on to begin the bottom of the first inning for Fort Lee. That is the 11th walk drawn this season by Kim in the leadoff spot. That'll bring up the second place hitter in the lineup, the catcher, Luke Senator, the junior, hitting .447 on the season. Another Bridgeman who has been swinging a red-hot bat of late. Senator takes the curveball in for a strike, 0-1. .447 batting average on the season, 11 RBIs, 17 base hits. On Saturday against the Fairlawn Cutters, Senator went 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored. Little chin music backs him off the plate, 1-1 the count. Stephen Kim down at first with nobody out here. They check in on him and they throw it away. Gets away from the first baseman. The throw down is second. Not going to be in time as Stephen Kim will move down into scoring position after that wild pickoff attempt. So now an RBI opportunity potentially here for Senator. So Luke Senator, 1-1 count against him. Stephen Kim down at second base. Pitch is taken high for a ball. It's now 2-1. Tyler Quinn trying to find his accuracy right now in this first inning. Missed on the outside, 3-1, and he's in danger of potentially walking the second hitter of the game. He walks Stephen Kim after getting in front of the Bridgeman leadoff hitter in this game. Now he's behind against Senator, the catcher, 3-1. Senator slaps that one into left field for a base hit. Kim will go station to station with his base running. Advancing down from second to third, and there's runners at the corners with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning. For Fort Lee, another base hit collected by Luke Senator, his 18th hit of the season. That brings up Chris Kim, the junior shortstop, hitting .356 on the season. 2 home runs, 14 RBIs, 16 base hits on the year. Dangerous RBI producer here in the number 3 spot. First ball swinging, and he lost that curveball into left field. That's going to be an RBI single, and that's going to stake Fort Lee to the first run of the game. The Bridgmen lead Dumont by a score of 1-0. On the RBI single by Chris Kim, didn't waste any time. Had that soft curveball that he just launched right into left field with his 15th RBI of the year. Brings up Jacob Greenberg, hitting 4th here today. Greenberg on the season hitting .333 on the year, 15 RBIs, 15 base hits. He was 3 for 4 with a double, and he drove in 3 against Fairlawn back on Saturday. And it looks like a little bit of a mound conversation about to commence here for Dumont as they trail 1-0. Nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning. One 1-0 count after the meeting at the mound for Jacob Greenberg. Swings and misses at what could have been ball number 2. Greenberg has 2 runners on base in front of him, down at first and second. Nobody out. 1-0 lead already here for the Bridgmen in the bottom of the first. Greenberg gets sawed off there, and a diving play made by the third baseman, and that's going to lead to 2. A double play. James Sotera did a great job of diving headfirst on the softly hit ball and then doubling up the Fort Lee base runner who had ventured off of second base. So now there's 2 away and a pathway out of the inning here for Tyler Quinn. Pickoff attempts, not in time. Brings up Jack Dorcom, number 3. Junior hitting .316 on the year, and there's the throwdown as second. Not going to be nearly in time. Stolen base by Chris Kim. Kim swiping his 4th stolen base of the season. So once again, Fort Lee with a runner down in scoring position, but with 2 away. Dorcom takes that off the plate. It's going to be a ball, 2-0. Dorcom, a .316 hitter on the season, 8 RBIs to his name. He was 0 for 3, but did produce an RBI in the last game against Fairlawn on Saturday. Tyler Quinn paying a lot of attention to the base runner, Chris Kim. He was down at second base. 2-0. Grounded into the backstop, 2-1. A beautiful late April afternoon here in Fort Lee. Nice breeze and about mid-70s. After a cold and rainy start to this spring, feeling more like summer weather here. Pitch missed to the outside. That goes to the backstop, and there's going to be no throw as Kim will easily advance down to third base. So now it's a 3-1 count against Dorcom. Kim has moved all the way from first down to third. And a base hit would buoy this lead for Fort Lee. 3-1. There's a mile-high pop-up. Ranging back at center field for the putout is going to be Joseph Sutera. and that will retire the side. But not before Fort Lee puts up a run in that bottom of the first inning, courtesy of an RBI single for Chris Kim to left field. And Fort Lee will lead Dumont 1-0 as we head to the second inning here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Top of the second inning, 1-0 lead for Fort Lee. As Dylan Mendez will step in and take that first pitch across the plate for a curveball strike. Mendez, the DH in this lineup. Quickly behind 0-2. Mendez hitting .320 on the season, 5 RBIs, 8 base hits. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gabe Garcia powering 3 straight past Mendez, and that's quickly the first out of the second inning. Second strikeout in the game for Garcia, who did the same thing to the leadoff hitter to begin the game in the first inning. Brings up Aiden Ramos. Ramos takes that outside for a ball, 1-0. Ramos, the starting second baseman. He's a junior. Hitting .500 on the season, 2 hits. In limited duties, he was 1 for 1 with a double against Ramsey on Saturday, so getting the start here today. Ahead of the count against Garcia, 2-0. Ground ball down to third. Taking on a couple of hots. Thrown over, and it's not going to be able to be snagged out of the turf there, so it's going to be an infield hit. I would rule for Ramos. That was a slow roller. Marrero was trying his best to get to it after 2 bounces off the turf, and Sango could not pick it. Ramos will have the third base hit of the game for Dumont. Brings up the starting pitcher, Tyler Quinn, hitting in the 8th spot, trying to help his own cause out. Takes that for a strike, though. Quinn hitting .200 on the season. He was 0 for 1 on Saturday against Ramsey. Curveball has Quinn well out in front. He was sitting on fastball, got the breaking pitch instead. Now Garcia ahead, 0-2. Runner down at first with 1 out. Just was trying to get Quinn to fish for that one, but he wasn't biting. 1-2 count. Quinn calls for time and steps out of the batter's box. Again, Mendez struck out to begin the inning. Ramos got an infield hit. He's standing down at first. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tyler Quinn is retired, so Garcia struck out 2 here in the second. He's got 3 Ks in the game. And that brings up the 9th place hitter, left fielder Matthew Mertz. Breaking pitch is a beauty there to get ahead of the count, 0-1 against Mertz. Starting left fielder, hitting .167 on the season. Was 0 for 2 against Ramsey in their last game. There's a quick strike for Garcia, who's jumped ahead of the count 0-2. And Garcia now one strike away from striking out the side here in the second inning. Looks into his catcher, Luke Senator. Here's the pitch. Missing high and outside, 1-2. Runner down at first with two away here. 1-0 lead at the top of the second inning for Fort Lee. The runner is off, down to second, not going to be in time. So now Dumont with the stolen base by Ramos. He is in scoring position, and the count is run to 2-2. James Sotera, the leadoff hitter, waiting on deck if this inning can continue for Dumont. The 2-2. Miss low, and after starting off 0-2 against Mertz, 3 straight out of the strike zone for Garcia has run the count full. 3-2, slow roller. But that one is going to get booted by the shortstop. And that's going to allow both runners to be safely on base at the corners. So a misplay there at short for Fort Lee, and the error will keep this inning going. E6 against Chris Kim. So it brings up James Sotera. Sotera is 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging back in his first plate appearance in the first inning. Curveball, throw down to second, and that's going to be in time. They try the double steal to no avail as the base runner is thrown out and Mertz trying to steal second base. And that will end the scoring threat for Dumont in the second. We head to the bottom of the second, still with Fort Lee on top of the Huskies by a score of 1-0. So Dumont was trying to manufacture their run to tie this game up in the top portion of the second inning with a double steal. Instead, the runner was thrown out trying to steal second as the other runner was trying to head home from third. The out was recorded before any tying run can cross home plate, so it remains a 1-0 lead for Fort Lee as we head to the bottom of the second inning. And there's going to be a strike fired against the sixth-place hitter in the Fort Lee lineup. In number 6, C.J. Senator. Sophomore, .447 batting average on the year. Takes it low to even the count at 1-1. C.J. has driven in 11 runs this season, collected 17 hits. Stolen 5 bases as well. Taken off the plate to the outside, 2-1. Senator, Sango, and Marrero to up here for the Bridgemen in the bottom of the second inning. Quinn missing low, and now he's fallen behind 3-1. Quinn was struggling as the first 3 hitters reached base safely back in the bottom of the first inning for Fort Lee. Was bailed out with a big double play ball. Battles back with a curveball strike to load the count full of 3-2. Gone out of the first inning, only surrendering that 1 run. 3-2, swing and a miss. And that's going to be strike 3 as the catcher, McKenna, held on to it. First strikeout of the afternoon for Tyler Quinn. Dumont defense. Mertz in left, Joseph Cetera in center, Sobek in right. James Cetera down at third, Caramusa at short, Ramos at second, and Martin at first. And one pitch and another out as Nico Sango, the first baseman for Fort Lee, flies out to center field. 2 away with no one on for the Bridgemen here in the bottom of the second. And McKenna doing the catching for Quinn here today. Quinn has retired the last 4 hitters that he's faced in order, as Jeremiah Marrero will step in and take that first one outside the zone for a ball, 1-0. Marrero, the sophomore, getting the start at third base today, hitting 143 on the season. Drew 3 walks in the win against Fairlawn on Saturday. Fouls that into the backstop. 1-1 the count. One is driven foul down the left field line. Trying to chase after that one was Mertz. And now it's a 1-2 count against Marrero. He was all over that offering from Quinn, but just a little too early. Marrero can get on and keep this inning going. It would bring up Marcus Lee, the 9th place hitter. That one is skipped in the dirt. 2-2. Quinn trying to produce a 1-2-3 inning here for Dumont. Bounces that one in the dirt again, and the count is run full at 3-2. So a 3-2 pitch. That one is driven backwards again. Marrero doing a good job of staying alive in this at-bat. It'll be a 3-2 count again. 2 outs, nobody on base, bottom of the second inning. 1-0 lead for Fort Lee over Dumont. That's taken low for ball 4, so this inning continues for Fort Lee. Second walk given up in this game by Tyler Quinn of Dumont. That'll bring up the center fielder, Marcus Lee. Lee hitting .394 on the season. 13 base hits, 5 RBIs. And he is a stolen base threat. Whenever he gets on base, he leads the team with 10 swiped bags this season. 0-1 the count against him with a runner down at first. 2 away here in the bottom of the second. Lee takes off the plate. 1-1. Quinn's 1-1 is too high. The throw down to second base. It's going to get away from the shortstop and roll its way into center field. That's going to be a stolen base for Fort Lee. Trying to manufacture something all with 2 outs in the inning. Marrero steals second base. And was wise to not try to be greedy and take an extra bag because it was backed up by the center fielder, Joseph Cetera. 2-1 count. Driven straight back by Lee for a foul ball. 2-2. Stephen Kim, the leadoff hitter, waiting on deck for Coach Kraljic's Fort Lee Bridgemen. That time the off-speed missed high to the outside. 3-2. So the count runs full again. Marcus has produced 5 RBIs this season. He had a walk and a run scored against Fairlawn on Saturday. Takes it high, ball 4. That's the second walk of the inning. Third walk of the game given up by Tyler Quinn. And now Fort Lee with something brewing here. Runners at first and second, all with 2 away. Back-to-back walks given up. That'll bring up Stephen Kim, who started off this game with a leadoff walk. Eventually came around to score on the Chris Kim RBI single to left field. Pitch was taken low, 1-0. Stephen with 11 RBIs on the season. Ground ball, that's going to be a base hit just underneath the glove of the third baseman. Again, station to station running, and that's a good job by Fort Lee of putting the brakes there on Marrero, because I think he was going to be easily thrown out if he was trying to make the turn from third and try to head home. So a single by Stephen Kim gets him on the bases, and now the bases are loaded for Luke Senator, who had a single, and he's 1 for 1 in his first time up. Curveball breaks in for a strike to get ahead of the count. Tyler Quinn now ahead of Senator 0-1. Bridgman trying to break through here with the bases loaded. Senator rounded that into his own leg, and now he's behind the count 0-2. Luke with 11 RBIs on the season. He collected his 18th hit of the year back in the first inning. Senator drives that one directly back into the backstop. Again, it's going to be 0-2 the count. Quinn quickly got the first 2 outs in this inning, but has now allowed the last 3 hitters to reach safely. Senator drives that one well foul and out of the Sugarman Sports Complex across the street. Still an 0-2 count. Here's the pitch. Ground ball. Get by. No, it's going to be a nice play there by the shortstop, as Caramuso was screened momentarily by the base runner who was trying to make his way down to third. Caramuso with a nice backhand there. Got it over in time, and Fort Lee threatened all with 2 outs in the inning, but could not push across that second run of the game. So we head to the top of the third inning, and it remains a 1-0 lead for Fort Lee as you're watching all the action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So both teams threatening for runs in the second inning, but come away empty as we head to the third inning. 1-0 lead for Fort Lee as Dumont getting set for the top of their order. Sutera was the man up at the plate when the runner was thrown out trying to steal second on the double steal. Sutera is 0 for 1 here today with a strikeout in the first. Dumont has had its opportunities in the first 2 innings, but Gabe Garcia has kept them at bay. He's recorded 3 strikeouts so far in this game, giving up 3 hits but no runs. As Sutera will hit from the left side. Sutera first ball swinging will line that into shallow center field. 1 pitch and a base hit. And the leadoff runner is on for the first time in this game for Dumont. 4th hit of the game for the Huskies. Cetera now hitting with 13 hits in the season. Infield playing in, maybe expecting the bunt. Instead, it's going to be a steal. The throw down to second. It goes off the glove of the second baseman. Stephen Kim, if he held on to it, that would have been another out at second base, retiring that stolen base threat. Instead, he was betrayed by his own leather. So a stolen base by James Cetera, and he's down in scoring position with nobody out. Ryan McKenna is 1 for 1, had a double in his first plate appearance, takes that strike. Makes it a 1-1 count against him. McKenna will get that one into center field, ranging back to make the play. That time is Lee, and Lee showing off the good relay as well, getting it right back into his infield to avoid any tag up by the runner at second base. So the fly out to center field by McKenna is the first out of the inning, and there's one away with a runner down at second. Brings up the shortstop, Jared Caramusa. Caramusa is 1 for 1. He hit a single. That pitch taken upstairs, 1-0. Caramusa's one that was probably should have been caught, we could say, there with Marcus Lee. He was upset with himself after it deflected off of the lip of his glove. The generous scorer that I am, I gave Caramusa a single on that one. 1-1 count against the starting shortstop for Dumont. Slow roller right back to Garcia, but he throws it away from the first baseman, and that's going to roll in foul territory. It's also going to tie the game. At 1-1, self-inflicted wound there. That should have been an easy toss over for the second out of the inning. Instead, it got away from the first baseman. An error against the pitcher. Gabe Garcia has now leveled the score at 1-1. So E1 on your scorecard and the throwing error for the pitcher. So now it's 1-1 the score with the runner down at second base with one out here in the inning, and brings up Alexander Martin. So Dumont has tied the score. Now a chance to potentially take its first lead of the game. Breaking pitch missing low to the outside, 1-0. That's a line drive to Lee in center field. He makes the catch. And again, quickly gets it back in play to make sure that there's no tag up by the runner at second. And now there's two away. So Martin flies out to center field, brings up Luke Sobek, the right fielder. Sobek ended the first inning with a ground out to short. Hitting from the left side against Garcia. Slow breaking pitch, missing outside for a ball, 1-0. Sobek saws that one off to the outside and foul, 1-1. .353 batting average on the season for the junior. Getting the start in right field today. Swing and a miss, comes away empty. 1-2 the count. I think Senator thought that was strike three, was throwing it around the infield. Now gets it back to the pitcher. So it's a 1-2 count. Runner down at second base. Just off the plate there. 2-2. Go-ahead run down at second. Calling for the time. That time was Sobek. Runner is off. Popped up in left field. Underneath it to make the putout was C.J. Senator, and that'll end the inning. But an unearned run crosses home plate for Dumont. that levels the score at 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the third here in Fort Lee. Dumont on the board thanks to the throwing error, and now we head to the bottom of the third inning where Fort Lee's going to be trying to recapture that advantage. 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up to start off this inning for the Bridgemen. Leadoff hitter is Chris Kim. Kim is the one responsible for the lone Bridgeman run in this game. Struck for a RBI single to left field back in his first at-bat in the first inning. He saw all of one pitch and drove it into left field after Tyler Quinn tried to throw him a curveball. 1-0 missing low. It's now 2-0. Kim, .356 batting average on the season. With his RBI in the first inning, he's now driven in 15 runs on the year. He's the power bat in this lineup, and as soon as I say that, he drives it deep, and that's going to go against the fence and ricochet up and over the fence. They're going to say that is a home run. Third home run of the season for Chris Kim. As soon as I alluded to his power in his bat, he shows it off there, and Fort Lee has taken back the lead. That's Kim's second RBI of the game. And again, his third long ball of the season. Incredible strength there for Chris Kim. RBI single in the first, solo home run to start off the bottom of the third inning. So he picks up his pitcher right away after the unearned run got Dumont level. Our vantage point had thought at first it was going to be just a one-hopper over the fence, but it actually went over the fence for a home run. Brings up Jacob Greenberg. Greenberg was unlucky. Popped up into a double play. Diving play made by James Sotera at third and then doubled up the runner at second. Greenberg ricochets that one foul. 2-1 the count against Jacob. So Chris Kim now with 3 homers, 16 RBIs on the season. Breaking pitch. Dropped in the bucket for strike 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Tyler Quinn, after giving up the leadoff homer, battles back to produce the strikeout against Greenberg, and there's one away here in the bottom of the third. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Quinn. Brings up Jack Dorcom. DH flew out to center field his first plate appearance. He's 0 for 1 today. Two runs on 4 hits this afternoon for Fort Lee. That pitch in tight backs Dorcom off the plate. Swing and a miss that time. Dorcom trying to go the distance if he connected on the baseball there. Fouls that into the backstop. Now 2 strikes against Dorcom in his at-bat. C.J. Senator, the left fielder, waiting on deck. Hard ground ball handled by James Sotera at third. Nice throw across the diamond there for the second out of the inning. 5-3 ground out by Dorcom, who was hustling down the first base line. Now there's 2 away with no one on base. That'll bring up Senator, C.J. Senator, who's 0 for 1. He was a strikeout victim back in the second inning. Again, all 2 runs in this game for Fort Lee, courtesy of their outstanding shortstop, Chris Kim. Quinn dribbles that one to the backstop for a ball, 1-0. Fort Lee trying to go to 5-0 in the league with the win here today. Sit atop first place all by their lonesome. Curveball inside corner for a strike. 1-1. Fort Lee will have a day off tomorrow and then be back in action on Wednesday at Dumont. That pitch taken high upstairs by Senators and a count 2-1. Dumont will play actually tomorrow. They'll play on the road at Saddlebrook before hosting Fort Lee on Wednesday. Again, a high pitch behind the back of Senator, who ducks out of the way. 3-1 the count in favor of the Fort Lee left fielder. 2 outs and nobody on base. Swing and a miss that time. Now the count runs full at 3-2. Tyler Quinn trying to limit the damage to only that 1 run on the solo home run in this inning. 3-2, grounded foul. The right-hander's 3-2. Swing and a miss on the curveball, strike 3. Second strikeout of the inning, third of the game for Tyler Quinn. But again, he is met rudely by the leadoff hitter in Chris Kim, as Kim drives it for his 3rd home run of the season, and Fort Lee leads 2-1 as we head to the 4th inning of play. Each team with 1 run apiece in the 3rd inning. We head to the 4th inning. Fort Lee on top, 2-1. And what made that home run even more dramatic for Chris Kim for Fort Lee, that hit off the top of the fence and then bounced its way backwards for the home run. It could have bounced right back into the course of play and been a double. But a fortuitous bounce for the Bridgemen have staked them out to a 2-1 lead. Gabe Garcia back to the mounds again here for the Bridgemen. 1-1 the count against Dylan Mendez. Missing outside, 2-1. Mendez was a strikeout victim in his first plate appearance in the second inning. He's 0 for 1 today. 2-1, grounded foul. Just outside the third base line, 2-2. Two-two, missed tie, and now the count is run full at 3-2. Time is granted to Mendez. Garcia's produced 3 strikeouts in this game. Make it 4. A wild swing and a miss that time by Mendez, chasing that pitch up and outside the strike zone. And the leadoff man is retired to begin the 4th inning. Three of the 4 strikeouts in this game for Gabe Garcia have come against the leadoff hitter in an inning. Aiden Ramos will ground that one down to second base, taken on one hop there by Stephen Kim. One pitch, and now the second out of the inning. Nice glove work there by Kim at second in a tricky in-between hop after he was charging. That'll bring up the opposing pitcher, Tyler Quinn, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout, swinging back in the second inning. Takes that one a little too high and outside, 1-0. Garcia looking for his potential first 1-2-3 inning of the game. Elicits the swing and miss from Quinn to even the count at 1-1. Swing and a miss again, and it's now 1-2. So Garcia 1 strike away from getting through 4 innings of play. The 1-2. Curveball, strike 3 called. The backwards K put on the board, the second strikeout of the inning, and strikeout number 5 of the game of Dumont hitters. A dominant inning there in the 4th for Gabe Garcia, Fort Lee, who will take a 2-1 lead here to the bottom of the 4th inning. Tyler Quinn back to the hill for his 4th inning of work here for Dumont. He trails 2-1 in this pitching duel. As Nico Sango, the first baseman for the Bridgemen, steps in. Second time, he just sees one pitch. This time, it will go past the left fielder all the way to the wall for extra bases. It looked like Mertz was lining it up for another putout against Sango, but Sango had that ball just continue to carry past Mertz and roll all the way to the wall. So a leadoff double for Fort Lee to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. Nico Sango, the junior, who hits .279 on the season. He was 2 for 3 against Fairlawn on Saturday. He's 1 for 2 today. Second extra base hit of the day for Fort Lee. And plunked that time was Jeremiah Marrero right in the square of the back. First time that Tyler Quinn has hit a batter in this game. First two runners on safely to begin the bottom of the fourth inning for Fort Lee. Brings up Marcus Lee. With runners at first and second with nobody out. Lee drops down the bunt. The pitcher, Quinn, goes right to first base, and that's going to be in time. So a good sacrifice bunt here for Fort Lee's Marcus Lee. One away in the inning with runners now in scoring position at second and third base. Brings up the leadoff hitter, Stephen Kim. Kim is 1 for 1 with a walk. Had a single his last time up in the second inning. Kim, first ball swinging, lofts that into left field. Should be deep enough to get the runner home from third. They'll tag from third. The throw to short. Not going to be in time with a cutoff. And a sacrifice fly by Stephen Kim. Has now staked Fort Lee to their largest lead of the game at 2 at 3-1. So Stephen Kim drives in that runner from third. And Nico Sango brings up Luke Senator. Senator is 1 for 2 today. As Quinn will step off the rubber before facing his fellow number 1. Senator had a single back in the first inning. Grounded out to short his last time up in the second. Dribbles that one foul to the right side. 0-1 the count against Senator. Marrero standing down at third base. Could be another big run, potentially awaiting Fort Lee. Off the plate for a ball, 1-1. Fort Lee has scored once in the first, once in the third, and once more here in the fourth. There's a strike right above the knees to make it a 1-2 count in favor of Tyler Quinn. One-two is bounced in the dirt, not far enough away from the catcher McKenna to make Marrero think about charging down the third base line. If Senator can keep this inning going, that would bring up Chris Kim. Again, thrown in the dirt to the backstop for another ball. Senator has produced 11 RBIs on the season for the Bridgman offense. Can he do so yet again here? Takes high that time, and it's going to be ball 4. So runners at the corners with 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth inning. First walk given up in this inning. Fourth walk of the game surrendered by Tyler Quinn. Now how will Quinn match up with Chris Kim? Kim had an RBI single to left field back in the first inning. Had a solo home run his last time up to lead off the third. Courtesy runner on the field now for Senator, the catcher. So here comes Chris Kim. Throw over to first, not in time. You don't want to get caught at first base, certainly when you come in as a pinch runner and a courtesy runner, and you don't want to short circuit this inning with Kim at the dish. That wild pitch, though, will allow the runner to head down to second base, so now it's runners at second and third with 2 outs on a 1-0 count against Kim. Again, Kim, his last time up, So straightaway center field had it ricochet off the top of the fence and then a carom just over. Kim will drive that one through the wickets of the shortstop. That's going to score another run. He was blazing down the first base line. It was going to take a near perfect play by Karamusa to throw out Kim if he fielded that cleanly. We'll say a RBI single for Chris Kim in the infield hit. And another run home here for the Bridgemen in the bottom of the fourth inning. They lead now 4-1. Kim with 3 RBIs in this game. Runners at the corner, still with 2 away. Brings up Jacob Greenberg. He grounds that one down to second base. That'll be handled on the run by Ramos over to Martin to retire the side. But Fort Lee increases its lead after putting up 2 runs there in the bottom of the fourth inning. We thank all of our proud sponsors on our screen as we head to the 5th. Fort Lee on top, 4-1. Top of the 5th inning, 4-1 lead for Fort Lee over Dumont. The 9-1-2 hitters due up for the Huskies here in the 5th. First ball swinging, it's going to be lined into center field for a base hit by Matthew Mertz. Mertz has now reached base safely twice here today. He reached courtesy of an error by the shortstop in his first at-bat in the second and leading things off with a base hit up the middle to begin the 5th. Fifth hit of the game now for Dumont. That brings up the top of their order in James Sotera. Sotera is 1 for 2, struck out swinging in the first and had a base hit his last time up in the third. Curveball strike that time by Garcia. Garcia has allowed only 1 unearned run because of a throwing error by himself. There's a bunt attempt down to third base, fielded and thrown over in time. Looked like Sotero was just trying to drop that bunt down, not as a sacrifice, but trying to leg it out. Marrero did a good job of anticipating that contact. And there's 1 away with a runner down at second base. Brings up the catcher, Ryan McKenna. McKenna is 1 for 2 today with a double. Also flew out to center field his last time up. Thrown in the dirt and low for a ball, 1-0. Breaking pitch missing to the outside as well. It's now 2-0. 2 of the best hitters in the lineup due up here. McKenna hitting second. Karamusa's hitting behind him, hitting third. Third time through the order for Gabe Garcia. He's missing low on the last couple of pitches. 2-0 against McKenna. Breaking pitch inside for a strike. 2-1. McKenna has hit it to center field in both plate appearances. Grounds that one. Foul down the third base line. Now 2-2. Garcia's pitch missing to the outside, and that's going to be a ball. And it's going to lead to the walk here for McKenna. So Ryan McKenna is on base safely. Runners at first and second with one out here in the top of the fifth inning for Dumont. First walk of the game given up by Gabe Garcia. Brings up Jared Caramusa. He's been on base twice in this game, and a single in the first reached on that throwing error by Garcia his last time up on the comebacker to the pitcher that led to the lone run of this game for Dumont. 0-1 count against him. Wild swing and a miss, and quickly Gabe Garcia has raced out to an 0-2 count. Garcia would certainly love a strikeout in this scenario. Runners at first and second with one away. 0-2 missing to the outside as Caramusa would not expand his strike zone. Caramusa drives that one foul down the third base line. 349 hitter on the season for Caramusa. Has produced 8 RBIs on the season. 4-1 lead for Fort Lee. Dumont batting here in the top of the fifth. That one is going to be a strike three called. Painting the outside corner was Gabe Garcia. Garcia rings up his 6th strikeout of the game. And now there's 2 away with 2 on here in the top of the fifth. A beautifully executed pitch there by Fort Lee's Garcia. Garcia taking on Alexander Martin, the first baseman now. Martin is 0 for 2. Grounded back to the pitcher, also flew out to center field. There's a strike to even the count at 1-1. Mertz led off the inning with a center field hit. McKenna reached on a walk. Breaking pitch dropped inside for a strike, and now Garcia 1 strike away from getting through 5. Ahead of the count, 1-2. Dumont with runners at first and second with 2 away. The 1-2. Bounce in the dirt. That's going to go to the backstop, and that's going to allow the runners to head down to second and third on the wild pitch. Did not bounce back to Senator to allow the starting catcher for the Bridgemen to think about maybe throwing down to third base. 2-2 count. Now a base hit could drive in 2. Pitch missing low to the outside, and the count runs full now at 3-2. Martin has 10 RBIs on the season for Dumont. The 3-2 pitch. That one was ricocheted off the leg that time of Martin, so we'll do it again after the foul ball. The 3-2 pitch. That one is driven into right field. That's going to be a base hit. That's going to score 1. Here's the turn for the runner around third. Throw's not going to be in time. A 2-run single that time. And the throw down to second is also not going to be in time. So Alexander Martin with a 2-run double has drawn the Huskies back to within one at 4-3 here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. Clutch hit there by Alexander Martin, depositing that one into right field just in front of Greenberg and Wright. And then also being aggressive and getting into second base. So now Luke Sobek with a base hit could possibly level the score. Swing and a miss wildly that time. He was sitting on fastball, got the breaking pitch instead. 2 hits in this inning for the Huskies of Dumont. Ground ball, that's going to be a base hit to right field. They put the stop sign on the runner down at third. It was cut off in the infield, and now there's runners at the corners still with 2 outs. A base hit by Luke Sobek, his first hit of the game. The Huskies with 7 hits in this ball game now. Tying run down at third base. Dylan Mendez stepping in. Mendez has been a strikeout victim twice in this game. He's 0 for 2. And that pitch hit his helmet. That's going to be a hit pitch and hit batter. And the bases are now loaded full of Huskies. And Gabe Garcia's control has now evaded him. Eden Ramos is going to be due up here with the bases loaded as Fort Lee wants to talk things over. They've been getting some action going down the left field line in their bullpen. But I think it's still Garcia's game and Garcia's last out to procure here in the 5th inning. Matthew Mertz led off the top of the 5th inning with a base hit to center field. James Cetera bunted him over. Ryan McKenna then drew a walk. Caramusa struck out looking. But then the big 2-out hit delivered by Alexander Martin, 2-run double. Luke Sobek followed up with a single, and then Dylan Mendez just got plunked. So bases loaded with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Fort Lee trying to hold on for a 4-3 lead. Garcia missing low on that first pitch, 1-0. Eden Ramos, 1 for 2 in this game. Had a single and last time grounded out to second. Sits on that pitch for a strike, 1-1. Ramos, base hit here to left field. That's going to tie the score. They take the turn around third and put on the brakes themselves. 3 runs home here in the top of the 5th inning. And Dumont has come back to tie the game up at 4-4. Ramos with his second hit of the game. This is the 9th hitter of the inning for Dumont. It's the pitcher, Tyler Quinn. So Fort Lee's 3-run lead has now vanished. Quinn with a base hit here can give Dumont their first lead of the ball game. Quinn is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts, hitting out of the 8th spot. Pitch missed to the outside. It's 1-1. Quinn struck out swinging in the 2nd inning, struck out looking his last time up in the 4th. Taking all the way, and he takes that for a strike. It's now 1-2. All these runs coming courtesy of 2 outs in the inning. Fouled back into the top of the backstop. We'll do it again at 1-2. One-two count against Quinn. Bases are loaded. To think that in the last inning, Gabe Garcia needed less than 10 pitches to get through the 3 hitters he faced. All sorts of trouble here in the top of the 5th. 2-2 the count, nowhere to put Quinn. Quinn, ground ball down to second base. Nice play there by Stephen Kim. And that will end that inning, but not before Dumont strikes for 3 runs. The big hit, the two-run double by Alexander Martin. Aiden Ramos' RBI single ties the game up at 4. We head to the bottom of the 5th here at the Sugarman Sports Complex as you're watching Fort Lee Baseball here on YouTube. Second time in this game that Dumont has battled back from a deficit to level the score. They did it when it was 1-1, and then quickly Fort Lee responded with a solo home run to take a 2-1 lead. They would tack on a couple more. Fort Lee led by as many as 3 runs in this game. It's now 4-4 after the 3 spot put up on the board by Dumont in the top of the 5th. 5, 6, and 7 hitters here for the Bridgemen to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Jack Dorcom is 0 for 2 in this game, flew out to center field and grounded out to third his last time up. Another dribbled pitch to the plate by Quinn. He's behind the count 2-0. Ground ball handled by Caramusa. Clean transfer there, and that's going to be a ground out to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning. 6-3 ground out there by Dorcom. And there's one away. That'll bring up the left fielder, C.J. Senator. Senator is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in today's ball game. Again, these two teams won't have to wait long to renew acquaintances. They'll wait just a couple more days and be back in action on Wednesday in Dumont. Dumont trying to hand Fort Lee their first league loss of the season. Bridgemen are perfect 4-0 in league play. Ground ball just got away from the pitcher, but waiting there was Caramusa. But his throw is offline. Drags his first baseman off of first base. And that's going to be an error that time against the Dumont shortstop. And it's going to be a one-out base runner here in the bottom of the 5th inning for Fort Lee. E6 is the call. Brings up Nico Sango. Sango is 1 for 2 today. First time Sango is not offering the first pitch that he sees. The throw down is second, not in time. Stolen base there for Senator. C.J. Senator with his 6th stolen base of the season. Sango, in his first 2 plate appearances, drove the first pitch that he saw. One for a fly ball to center field. The last time up was that ball that got over the head of the left fielder. Go ahead, run down in scoring position now for Sango. Five RBIs on the season for the junior. Drives that into the backstop. Now 2 strikes against him. One out with a runner down at second base. 4-4 game, bottom of the 5th inning. Good eye at the plate that time by Sengo, not chasing after that one outside the zone. Sengo, who has one of the 6 hits on the day here for Fort Lee. Ground ball down to the shortstop. Again, bounced at it. The throw to first, and that's not going to be in time. That's going to be another error charged against Karamusa. It was a hard-hit ground ball, back-to-back errors committed by Karamusa. And now runners at the corners with one out here for Fort Lee, batting in the bottom of the 5th inning, trying to retake the lead. So for Tyler Quinn, he's probably thinking he should have been out of this inning already. Couple of back-to-back errors by his normally sure-handed shortstop. That brings up Jeremiah Marrero, the third baseman for the Bridgemen. Marrero drew a walk in the 2nd inning, got hit by a pitch in the middle of his back in the last inning in the 4th. Marrero drops down the bunt down the first base line. Oh, it's a beauty of a bunt. And that's going to drive in the go-ahead run for Fort Lee. It stayed fair. Tyler Quinn was trying to make a diving effort at it as well. It did not roll foul. An infield single for Marrero, the RBI, and Fort Lee for the 3rd time in this game hold a lead at 5-4 now. Marrero producing only his 2nd RBI all season. Brings up Marcus Lee. 1st and 2nd, one out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lee chasing that one well high outside the zone. He falls behind 0-2. An unearned run here in the bottom of the 5th inning for the Bridgemen. Lee almost got hit there. Quinn just thrown all over the place right now. The 1-2 against Lee. Doesn't chase that breaking pitch outside. Stephen Kim, the leadoff hitter, waiting on deck. 2-2 count against Marcus. Runners at 1st and 2nd, one away. Lee jettisons that one into the backstop and foul. 2-2. Just missed outside the zone. That runs the count full, 3-2, and Quinn wanted that one badly. Full count for Marcus Lee. Runners at 1st and 2nd, one away. 3-2, missing high, ball 4. 2nd time that Marcus Lee has earned a walk. And the bases are now loaded full of Bridgemen, with only one out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Already 1 run home here for Fort Lee. That is the 5th walk of the game given up by Tyler Quinn, and Quinn's day might be done. Looks like he hands the baseball over, so Tyler Quinn will leave this game with the bases full of Fort Lee Bridgemen, trailing 5-4. So the new pitcher in the game now for Dumont is Aiden Ramos, who started this game at second base. He'll come in. He's pitching to a 3.89 ERA. 3 strikeouts in 9 innings of work this spring. Quinn will take his former position down at second base. So Ramos comes into a big league jam here. Bases loaded. 1 out. His team down 5-4, and he's trying to limit the damage. He's have to now contend with the top of the Fort Lee lineup. Stephen Kim, who's 1 for 2 with a walk and an RBI in this game. Drew a leadoff walk in the first inning, had a single in the second, and had a sacrifice fly to center field his last time up in the fourth. First ball swinging. Mile-high pop-up. Should be deep enough in left field. Mertz underneath it. Makes the play. Throws to the cutoff man. Not nearly in time. Another sacrifice fly for Stephen Kim. 2 runs home here in the bottom of the 5th inning for Fort Lee. They're back in front by 2. It's 6-4. Stephen Kim not wasting any time. Got the first pitch that he saw out of the hands of Ramos and got it deep enough for the fly ball. He's got 2 RBIs on sacrifice flies in this game. Brings up the catcher, Luke Senator. Senator, first ball swinging. Will line that one into the gap. It deflects off the center fielder's glove. That's going to score 2 here for Fort Lee. Dumont got a glove on it by Joseph Sutera, but he could not close the glove over the ball. And that's going to drive in a pair for Luke Senator. And Fort Lee answers after the 3-run top of the 5th inning. They played home 4 runs themselves here in the bottom of the 5th inning and open up their largest lead of the game at 4 at 8-4. That would have been a sensational play by Sutera. The way that he was shaded in center field was coming over to left center field. Got a glove on it, just could not complete it. Now Chris Kim standing in. Kim has had himself a day. 3 RBIs driven in here today, including a solo home run back in the 3rd inning. Kim, base hit into left field. Senator is being waved around third. Here's the throw to the cutoff man, not in time. And it is a 4 RBI performance by Chris Kim. He is 4 for 4 with 4 runs driven in, and Fort Lee's offense exploding here in the 5th inning. Ramos hasn't fooled anybody since coming into this game. He's given up the sacrifice fly to Stephen Kim, the 2-run double to Luke Senator, and now an RBI single to Chris Kim. Jacob Greenberg stepping in. He's 0 for 3 today. He grounds it down to short. That ricochets off of the glove of the shortstop, Karamusa. And that would be an infield hit, I think, for Jacob Greenberg. It was going to be a tough play in the backhand, even if he got it cleanly with Greenberg's speed down the first base line. I think he would have legged it out. 10th hitter of this inning coming to home plate. It's Jack Dorcom who led off the inning. He grounded out to short. Dorcom is 0 for 3 today. Ten hits in this game now for Fort Lee. Dorcom fouls that one back. So the Bridgemen have batted around here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fort Lee scoring once in the 1st, once in the 3rd, and 2 more in the 4th. Putting up a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 5th. Throw behind the runner at second. The pickoff move nearly worked. Fort Lee getting back in time. Runners at first and second. 2 outs here. 1-1 count. Pitch taken low to the outside. 2-1. Ramos missing again outside the zone, 3-1. Snagged down at third base. Beautiful play there by James Sotera and a fair ball. And he dove head first to tag the bag at third for the force out to end the inning. But Fort Lee responds with a big inning themselves after seeing Dumont strike for 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning to level the score at 4-4. Fort Lee blows past the Huskies, putting up a 5-run inning. Big at bat there for Luke Senator, and the 2-run double drove in a pair. We head to the 6th inning of play here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Fort Lee trying to stay perfect in league play. They lead by 5. New pitcher in the game now for the Bridgemen. Number 12, Bradley Lee, the senior, has a 3.73 ERA, 15 innings of work this season with 13 strikeouts. And with all that run support, Gabe Garcia would be in line for the win. So after he had to be frustrated after squandering that 4-1 advantage that his team has staked him out to, because of the offense's work in the bottom of the 5th inning, Garcia's in line for the win now here with a 5-run advantage for the Bridgemen. Matthew Mertz, the 9th place hitter, leads things off. Mertz led off the 5th inning as well with a single up the middle. Also reached on an error by the shortstop Kim in the 2nd. So he's been on base twice in this game. Lee, a right-hand thrower. 1-1 count against Mertz. There's the fastball on a strike, 1-2. Especially when you're a reliever, but even more so when you've been staked to a 5-run lead, this is where you have to throw strikes. You get in trouble walking the bases. 1-2, missing outside, 2-2. Dumont 6-9 on the season, Fort Lee 10-3. We thank you all for joining us for another edition of Fort Lee Baseball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Ricocheted into the top of the backstop, 2-2. Dan Long, so glad that he could join us. As we've been bringing you the sights and sounds of this entire 2024-25 athletics season and school year. High chopper, a couple of bounces that time, handled by Kim, and it's going to be not an out, I believe. Well, they say it is an out. They say that he held on to it in time. It looks like just enough by Sango. He had fallen down and the ball had come out of his hands, but I think they said that he had held on to it enough, and then when he fell down and the ball came out, the out had already been recorded. So Mertz is retired for the first time today. There's one away with no one on. James Sotera, the leadoff hitter. 1 for 3 in this game. Grounded out, trying to bunt his way on his last time up. Grounded out to third. Nice play was made by Marrero. Soetera hitting from the left side. Had a single back in the third. Lee fires in the strike. Dumont again will be in action tomorrow, so they're going to be playing 3 straight days. After today, they'll travel to Saddlebrook tomorrow and then be back in action at home on Wednesday, hosting Fort Lee. They'll get Thursday off before traveling on Friday to Bergenfield for the start of the month of May. Lee missing low. I believe it's a 3-2 count now. Second batter that Bradley Lee has faced since coming into this game out of the pen. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout dialed up there by Lee. Old Soetera that time, and now there's 2 away with no one on base in the top of the 6th inning. 7th strikeout of the game for Fort Lee pitching. First strikeout of the day for Bradley Lee. Brings up Ryan McKenna. McKenna takes that one low, 1-0. McKenna had a double in the first inning, flew out to center field in the third, and then drew a walk in the 5th inning. Again, this has been a picture-perfect afternoon for baseball. 75 degrees at opening pitch. A nice little breeze swirling around the Sugarman Sports Complex, making this feel more like a nice summer afternoon. That pitch is a strike against McKenna. Take it inside for a called third strike. So back-to-back strikeouts, that time by Bradley Lee. He comes in this game out of the Fort Lee bullpen, and he retires the side in order, including the last 2 hitters via the strikeout. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Fort Lee in Frontier at home. Third different pitcher in this game now for Dumont. Coming into the game for the first time is number 6, Isaac Funes. The sophomore has a 4.20 ERA in the season, 3 strikeouts and 6 2/3 innings of work this year. Tyler Quinn started off this game, went 4 2/3 innings of work. Then he was relieved by Aiden Ramos in the last inning, and then Funes now comes in for the Huskies, trying to keep this a 5-run deficit. The 9-4 lead for Fort Lee as they bat here in the bottom of the home sixth. 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the lineup due up here for the Bridgemen. Fort Lee 10-3 on the season, trying to go to 11-3 in what would be a 5-0 start in Big North America Division play. Came into this game one game ahead of arch-rival Cliffside Park, who is in second place with a 3-1 league record. Ridgefield Park 3-3, Dumont 2-2, and Dwight Morrow 0-6 on the year. Bridgemen will travel to Dumont on Wednesday and then travel to Demorest on Friday to kick off their baseball slate of games in the month of May. First ball swinging and driving that deep foul down the left field line. C.J. Senator 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Also reached courtesy of a fielding error by the shortstop in the last inning. Curveball falls in for a strike, now 0-2 the count. New shortstop in the game for Dumont, number 14, as you can see, motioning for his defense, James Sotera. Sotera switching alongside Caramuso, who's now been moved down to the hot corner at third. Breaking pitch, trying to be framed on the outside, but unable to do so. That's going to be a ball. That one is spiked in the dirt. The 3-2 pitch will lead to the leadoff walk here to begin the bottom of the sixth inning for C.J. Senator. So he's on base for the second consecutive time. That is the sixth walk allowed in this game by Dumont pitchers. So, excuse me, that wasn't the walk. It was actually, they said the 3-2. So, instead, it leads to the strikeout. My apologies, as Senator was trying to make his way down to first base. And then eventually, the 3-2 pitch ends up as a strikeout. So, Senator is retired for the first out of this bottom of the sixth inning. Brings up number 7, Nico Sengo, the first baseman. Sengo with one hit in this game. He had a double in the fourth inning. Flew out to center field in the second. Reached on an error his last time up in the fifth. It was only the fourth strikeout of the game for Fort Lee hitters. They have made contact here today, making the Dumont defense do its job. And a couple of costly errors in that last big inning that led to the 5 runs put on the board for Fort Lee that broke open this 4-4 game. 0-2 the count against the Fort Lee first baseman, Sengo, hitting from the right side. 0-2 by Funes, missing too high. It's now 1-2. That is grounded to the backstop. So we'll do it again at 1-2. Ground ball down to short. That'll be handled this time by Sotera. Low throw, but a good pick there by Martin. And now there's 2 away. Brings up the third baseman, Jeremiah Marrero. Marrero drew a walk in the second inning, got hit by a pitch in the fourth inning, and had an RBI single his last time up in the fifth inning. Has reached base safely in all three occasions here today. How's that one straight back? 0-1 the count. To lead off the seventh, Dumont will have their third, fourth, and fifth place hitters. Ground ball down to third. Caramusa, much better this time around. While playing at third, he gets the 5-3 ground down, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Isaac Funes. As we head to the top of the seventh inning, Fort Lee 3 outs away from staying perfect and in first place in league play. To the seventh inning we go. First ball swinging, it's going to be a pop-up. Ranging back to make the play is Chris Kim. One pitch and one out here to start off the seventh inning after Caramusa is retired by Bradley Lee. So Lee has come into this game and has retired the first 4 consecutive Dumont hitters that he's faced in order. Brings up Alexander Martin, the first baseman, who had a 2-run double his last time up. He grounds it down to third. Handled that time by Marrero. Nice pick out of the dirt that time by the first baseman, Sengo. 2 pitches, 2 outs here in the top of the seventh inning. And Dumont is down to their final out of the game. Brings up Luke Sobek. As that is dribbled in the dirt there by Bradley Lee. And what about his effort coming into this game? After Gabe Garcia went the first 5 innings, Bradley Lee is face 5 and is retired 5 in order. Lee throwing strikes, getting ahead of the batters, and elicits the swing and a miss. He's 1-1 now, the count. Sobek 1 for 3 in this game. Had a single in the 5th. Grounded out to short, also flew out to left field. That time, the breaking pitch dropped in the strike zone, and Dumont is down to their final strike of the game, a 1-2 count against Luke Sobek. Here's the pitch missing on the outside edge. It's 2-2. 2-2 counts. 2 outs, nobody on base. 9-4 lead for Fort Lee here in the top of the 7th. And time granted to the hitter. Lee gets the ground ball down to third. Here's the throw from the far side, and it's on time there by Marrero over to Sengo. And there's your ball game. Fort Lee victorious by a final score of 9-4 over the Dumont Huskies. With the defeat, Dumont will fall to 6-10 on the season. Fort Lee with a victory will improve to 11-3 overall and 5-0 in league play as they will stay in first place for yet another day. Fort Lee will be next in action on Wednesday, April 30th, as they'll travel to take on Dumont, while Dumont will next be in action tomorrow afternoon as they travel to Saddlebrook. So that'll do it for our broadcast coverage here of another edition of Fort Lee Bridgman Baseball. For everybody here in Fort Lee, I'm Dan Long saying so long, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.